It's coming. You can feel it. That fresh start energy, that this is my year optimism. January 1st is right around the corner, and you're already making promises to yourself. This year is going to be different. This year, you're finally going to get in shape, learn that skill, start that project, become that person you've always wanted to be. And you genuinely believe it for about 3 weeks, maybe a month if you're really dedicated. But by February, you're back to your old habits. The gym membership you bought, unused, the books you were going to read, still on the shelf, the person you were going to become, still just an idea, and you're not alone. This happens to everyone. Every single year, millions of people make the exact same resolutions, break them by Valentine's Day, and then beat themselves up about it until next January when they do it all over again. But here's the thing, it's not your fault. You're not lazy. You don't lack discipline. The problem is you're approaching this completely wrong, and today I'm going to show you what actually works, because I've been on both sides of this. I've been the person making huge lists of resolutions that I never followed through on, and I've also been the person who actually changed my life in meaningful ways. And the difference isn't willpower or motivation, it's understanding how change actually works. So let's start with why New Year's resolutions fail. And the first reason is simple, you're waiting for an arbitrary date. Think about it. If you're unhappy with your life in October, why are you waiting until January to change it? What's so magical about January 1st? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The calendar changing doesn't give you superpowers. It doesn't erase your bad habits. It doesn't suddenly make hard things easy. All it does is give you an excuse to procrastinate for a few more months. And that's exactly what most people do. They identify problems in their life, decide they want to change, and then they wait for the perfect moment, the fresh start, the clean slate. But that moment never actually comes because waiting for the perfect moment is just procrastination with better PR. If you want to change something, the best time to start is right now, not January 1st, not Monday, not tomorrow, right now. Because the date doesn't matter, your commitment does. Second reason resolutions fail, they're way too vague and ambitious. People write these huge lists of everything they want to change about themselves. Get fit, read more, be more social, save money, learn a language, start a business. It's like they're trying to completely rebuild themselves from scratch in 1 year. And then they try to do all of it at once. They go from doing nothing to trying to be perfect overnight. And it's just not sustainable. You can't go from never working out to working out every day. You can't go from never reading to reading an hour every night. You can't completely transform your entire life in one massive leap. But that's what people try to do because they're motivated on January 1st. They're excited, they're optimistic. So they make these huge commitments that sound great in the moment but are completely unrealistic when you actually have to follow through. So what's the solution? How do you actually create lasting change instead of just making empty promises to yourself every January? And the answer is something called habit loops. I learned about this from a book called The Power of Habit, and it completely changed how I approach goals. The idea is simple. Every habit has three parts: a cue, a routine, and a reward. The cue is what triggers the habit, the routine is the actual behavior, and the reward is what makes your brain want to repeat it. And if you can design these three things intentionally, you can build pretty much any habit you want. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to start working out. Most people just say, I'm going to go to the gym, and then they don't because there's no structure. But with a habit loop, you'd set it up like this. Cue, as soon as you get home from work, you change into your gym clothes. That's your trigger. Routine, you go to the gym and work out for 30 minutes. Reward, you track it in a habit tracker and give yourself a visual checkmark. See how that's way more specific than just get in shape? You're not relying on motivation or willpower. You're creating a system that makes the behavior automatic, and that's what actually works. But here's the key. It has to be specific and measurable, not read more, but read for 20 minutes before bed, not eat healthy, but meal prep on Sundays, not be more social, but text 3 friends every week to hang out, because vague goals lead to vague results, but specific habits lead to real change. And if you track them, if you give yourself that visual reward of checking off the box, your brain starts to crave doing it. That's the dopamine hit that keeps you going even when motivation fades. Now, here's where this gets really powerful. You don't need 25 new habits. You don't need to change everything about yourself. You just need one or two keystone habits. These are small changes that naturally cascade into other areas of your life. For me, my keystone habit was going to bed early. That's it, just one simple change. But look at what happened. When I started going to bed early, I woke up early. When I woke up early, I had time for breakfast. When I ate breakfast, I had more energy. When I had more energy, I wanted to work out. When I worked out, I wanted to eat healthier. When I ate healthier, I felt better. When I felt better, I spent less time scrolling on my phone. And when I spent less time on my phone, I went to bed early. One habit created this entire chain reaction that improved multiple areas of my life. And I didn't have to force any of it. It just naturally flowed from making one keystone change. So instead of trying to fix everything at once, just identify one or two keystone habits. What's the root cause of your problems? Maybe you scroll on your phone because you're bored. So your keystone habit could be going on a walk while listening to a podcast instead. Maybe you eat badly because you don't plan meals. So your keystone habit could be meal prepping every Sunday. Find that one change that'll trigger other positive changes and focus all your energy there. That's how you actually transform your life instead of just making empty resolutions. But here's where I want to take this in a different direction. Because yes, habits and systems and self improvement are great, but there's also something really important that nobody talks about when it comes to New Year's resolutions. You need to stop treating your life like a project that needs to be optimized. We live in this culture that's obsessed with productivity and self improvement and turning ourselves into the best version of whatever we're supposed to be. And social media makes it so much worse because everyone's constantly performing their best life. But that's not what life is supposed to be. You're not a brand, you're not a project, you're a human being, and sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself isn't to add more goals or habits or systems, it's to just exist, to be human, to do things for no reason other than they make you feel alive. There's this philosopher, Jean Baudrillard, who talked about something called the desert of the real. The idea is that we've created this fake digital version of life that feels more real than actual reality. We're so focused on documenting our lives, curating our image, comparing ourselves to others that we forget to actually live. And I think that's what a lot of New Year's resolutions are really about. We're not actually trying to improve ourselves, we're trying to become the person we think we're supposed to be based on what we see online. We're trying to fit into this ideal that doesn't even exist. So here's my challenge to you for this year. Yes, build your habits. Yes, track your goals. Yes, work on improving yourself. But also take time to step outside of all that, to disconnect from the machine, to do things that have no purpose other than making you feel human. Play like a child, explore your city like a tourist, talk to strangers, do something creative that you'll never show anyone, read a book in the park, go on a walk with no destination, sit in silence and just think. Because the best year of your life isn't the year you become the most productive or successful or optimized version of yourself. It's the year you remember what it feels like to be alive, the year you stop performing and start existing. So, yeah, build your habit loops, find your keystone habits, track your progress, but also give yourself permission to just be, to exist outside of the constant pressure to improve and achieve and become. That's the balance: discipline and humanity, structure and freedom, improvement and acceptance. That's how you actually have a good year, not by making a list of resolutions on January 1st and hoping motivation carries you through, but by understanding how habits work, focusing on keystone changes, and remembering that you're a human being, not a productivity machine. So, what's your keystone habit going to be? What's the one change that could cascade into other areas of your life? Think about it, pick one, and start today, not January 1st, today. And also, what's one thing you're going to do this year just for the sake of being human? Not for self improvement, not for content, just for you. Let me know in the comments. And if this helped you rethink how you approach New Year's resolutions, share it with someone who needs to hear it. We'll talk again soon.